First hike out in the high country. Up here at where I'll hunt for the year. We're 3/4 of a mile in is all. And it's hailing. It's trying to snow, kind of spits little snowflakes, and it starts spitting a little bit of rain. But mostly just these chunks of hail are coming down. Just about sums up the high country in June. One day it'll be 90, the next day it's 40 and hailing. Gotta love it though.
All my walls are covered in words, and while you sleep, I mark my goals. Stand tall, think clear. Don't let them see a hint of fear. Lines and dots, zoom in, zoom out. Open your window, let them hear you shout. Right on the poles, right on the street. Always remember the future is near.
So I'm about halfway up. There's a group of bulls right over here. And the bottom one's a real nice bull. He doesn't have enough characteristic yet to know which one he is. But he's got really good front sight. Pretty sure I know which of 3 bulls he is, just judging by the front and his body size. So it's always cool to see him, especially on the first real trip out of the year, up where you hunt. I'm gonna stay off the top of the ridge. I normally get up to, as you can hear the thunder, I normally head up to the top of the ridge and run the ridge route. But with the thunder going, I'm gonna stay about halfway down and then cut up when I have to where I want to go put the trail camera. So, first adventure of the season up here in Elk Country. And it's definitely starting off to be an adventure. That's why we love it though. Hey everybody, so I made it up where I'm setting the first cam of the season. I'm not all the way up on top because the elk aren't up on top yet, so I'll be back in a couple weeks to check this cam, and then I'll go another mile and a half, I don't remember exactly how far, to put where my summer/September cam will be. Right now I'm just trying to get pictures of bulls, cows, in about the elevation they're at. They use this still during September, just not as much. They tend to stay about another 1,000 foot in elevation higher, but this is where they'll be probably mostly through July. They tend to like this area. It's got a real green lush to it. Gonna go over a couple things what I did or do getting ready for a trail camera. So all I've done so far is literally put it on the tree. This is one of the little Browning HD Pro X cameras. Really like them. They're light, they're small. I've bought them online on Sportsman's Warehouse. You can get them pretty much anywhere, but they're light, they're compact, and they take great pictures. And they're easy to set up. I really also like their strap. The buckle that it has here is super easy to get set, and it holds and it stays. So a couple things about setting up trail cam that you want to make sure. You're always going to have all this extra strap. You got to make sure you tie this up. and tie it securely. Elk like these a lot. Don't know why, but I've had more cameras torn down, knocked down, pictures of of them literally with the strap in their mouth, and they literally sit there and will like play tug of war and chew on it. So you got to make sure that you tie it up very securely, or you'll come back and your camera will be all messed up. The other thing you can do if you're setting up a cam, the Browning has an actual pivot point in here, so you can actually adjust it. But if your camera does not have that, like some of my other cameras, what you can do is take a stick and you just wedge it behind the camera, the different size sticks, whatever you need for angle, and then tighten it down, and that will allow you to get the angle that you necessarily need. Okay, why did I pick this location? So we got all the food. There's actually a wallow down right there. It's just a small one. It gets hit a little bit, like I said, in September, but not a ton. These elk love to feed off over on a face over here. They love to bed back over in here. This is a travel corridor. They move a lot feeding, so I'm not huge into trying to put a camera where they feed. I try to put cameras where they move back and forth consistently to multiple feeding and bedding areas. That being said, there's a game trail right there, the trail right here, a trail right here, and a trail right down there. I can't cover all of them. This camera position allows to get me 3 out of the 4. If you could set up 10 cameras along here and still not necessarily catch every elk that comes by. You're just trying to get most of them. Another little trick that I do. These two trails are fairly close to each other. They go on either side of these trees. I'm trying to push these elk through right here because of the fact that they then will walk right in front of the camera. The elk coming down right here to come across, I can capture in this opening right here. The range of that does reach all the way across. Use a rangefinder, check. This one's got 80 feet. It's 25 yards from my camera to that hillside. So any elk moving through here, it will get a good picture of. What do you do about the elk that are moving behind the camera? Well, this particular spot I picked because of the fact that I was able to build a fence across the little trail right behind the camera where you'll miss them. That will make these elk then just move the 5 yards, 6 yards uphill right here and go and make them pass in front of the camera. It's not super sturdy. I purposely did that in case something comes blowing down the trail and runs into it. All those will tumble over pretty easy. They'll probably get knocked down at some point by moo cows this summer, but by the time the moo cows move in here, the elk, that's a big part of what pushes the elk up. That pretty much covers my basis, is the fact I've got a corridor where these elk move through. I've got a camera in a position where I can cover most of the elk moving back and forth in kind of a pinch point. And I try to limit the options necessarily that these elk have to go back and forth. So that's how I set this camera. That's why I set this camera here. Last year I got some great pictures of some bulls in here. I did put the camera on a tree right there last year, and I had a problem with elk tracks going behind the camera continuously, so I have literally moved it back 8 yards to make it in a different position to try to mitigate that. That pretty much covers this camera placement right here. So I'm going to leave this one. I will be back in here in this spot in about probably 4 weeks. I'll let it sit. In 4 weeks, I'll be getting into July, and the elk will start having bumped up some. So that's when I will come, pull the SD card out of this camera, see what has come through here in the last 4 weeks, and then place the camera at another spot up higher. I will leave this camera all the way through September, just to get an idea in case these bulls are staying lower, and at least I know. Being that we're in Idaho, we cannot use salt. Well, okay, let me correct that. You can use salt in Idaho for the purpose of attracting game animals. But here's the problem. If I put salt here in front of this camera, say I put salt like in this dirt or something, right? I cannot hunt this area at all for 365 years, or 365 days for a year. The problem is that Idaho does not have a specific distance of, if you place salt, that you're not allowed to be within. And I've gotten multiple answers from different game wardens. One game warden told me that you couldn't sit within 100 yards of the salt. Another one told me that you couldn't go in the same canyon. A little bit different response, right? So I simply keep my cameras in areas where the elk want to move back and forth, and make sure that, so I'm not going to get in trouble for, baiting in Idaho. And I don't know if you can see, it's snowing right now. It was hailing earlier, and now it's snowing. So it's snowing pretty good. I'm going to get stuff finished up. I'm just glad the lightning and thunder stopped. It was rocking and rolling here for a little bit. I've seen several bulls. Those bulls that were up there, I'm going to range them real quick. Where they were probably 120 yards. 104.5. So they were up there feeding on a little ridge right there. Their tracks actually came right through, well, right here. You can actually see, I'm going to flip this around where I stepped in it, but one actually went, urinated right there. So you can see right there, he urinated right in front of the tree where I'm putting my camera. My pack. So I'm going to get that finished up. Get that strap tied up. Okay, so something else I really like about these little Browning cameras is the fact that they have a little screen on them. It's an 1.5 inch screen, so it's not a giant screen, but it's big enough. A, makes it to where when you're back here you can easily check pictures. B, it is super handy for being able to set up and check your line that where you're actually taking pictures. If you don't have a screen, then you can't. I mean, short of it taking a picture, taking the SD card out, putting it into something to read the card, you get the picture. So I always use, no matter what brand of camera it is, a camera with a digital screen in it. Okay, so now that I got the camera all set, ready. Want to touch base on a couple things real quick that I haven't touched base on yet. First, I'm going to talk about the type of tree I use. And why. So been running cameras for several years, over 10, and learned a few things over the years. I really like big dead trees. Why? Well, up here the wind always blows every day, no matter what. So dead trees don't have any needles. They don't catch as much wind. I also use a good sized tree. So the size of the tree is also going to make sure it doesn't move. And because it's not moving, you don't get 400 pictures of from the tree moving and triggering it. The other thing you want to make sure is that the area that you're taking pictures of is relatively clear of small brush, shrubs, things that are going to move in the wind. Now, of course, you can't not have anything, right? But if you do have, big pieces of standing grass or something like that, just pull it. Think about that, because of the fact that every day the wind, thermal's going to go up, thermal's going to go down, right? And that's just going to create wind, which in turn is going to give you 400, 500 pictures of nothing but bushes moving. No matter what, you still always seem to get some, but that will cut down on the amount of junk pictures that you end up with. So go ahead, get cameras out. I hope you guys learned something from this. This is the first episode of the addiction series, so I'm hoping everybody enjoys the series and learns something from it. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna get headed out, because as you can see, since I've started this video, the ground has gotten white. It's probably in the upper 30s right now, and it's getting cold. So I'm gonna start hiking out. That'll warm me up pretty quick, and get back to the truck. Maybe this will stop by then, and I'll get an opportunity to glass some other country before I head out. Thanks for watching.
All my walls are covered in words, and while you sleep, I mark my goals. Stand tall, think clear. Don't let them see a hint of fear.